Well, today we patched up some brickwork. And what happened was this building was all plastered and the plaster fell off. The brick was from about the 1860s, and the owner looked at it and says, boy, he said, I like that. He says, I might just want to keep the brick. Can you patch it up? So we did a scene on patching it up. Patched it up right here. I'm going to show you how we did that. We're going to talk about repairing all kind of different brickworks and what cement to use. So here we go. So yesterday, the plaster was falling off of this wall. And we took the plaster off. Let me show you a couple scenes of that. And now we're back again. And when he sent some pictures around to his friends, they said, that's beautiful. You should keep it that way. But let's look what's going on. See, a lot of this brick is falling apart. And he said to me, Mike, can we fix the bricks up that are bad and make this wall look better? And what would you suggest? So my suggestion was something like this. There'll be like arches, and this would be the brick in here. You see it? And then up here, it's got to build a little roof to keep the water off the brick. So they like that idea. See, on the bottom we have stone. So we're just going to fill a couple of these in. I was going to do a video on this. I'm glad I came across this. Now one more thing before we get into brick. This was a different building than that, because in the old days they put all these buildings together. So they tore the building down to there, and because it was a double wall, they left it there. This is old school brick bonding. I'll explain as I go. Every 6 course, they bond a brick, and nothing is perfect. They're not all lined up perfect. They go any old way, which is good for us. So the first thing we're going to do is just be like a dentist. We want to get out all the bad stuff. The good stuff we want to leave in there. Now we could do this with saws. We don't have to because the brick is so soft. So we're going to do it this way first. See? Get this all cleaned out here. Old school brickwork. So we're just going to go over into here a little bit. That's not too bad. Get this out of here. And we'll go right to here with this. And you see this old lime mortar? It doesn't hold up. All right, not northeastern Pennsylvania, but that's all they had in the 1800s. So I think we're as far as we want to go here. So now we're going to clean it off. Now we're going to brush it all off. Okay? Everything off of here. Make sure that's real clean. Now we're going to fill this all in. And what I did was I went home and I cut this brick. You see it? So we're going to put it in all like this. I'm going to show you first how I cut these bricks. Before I go down there, I'm going to go through my brick pile and find some old brick that's going to match down there at that thing. And I keep them covered because you always want your brick dry. With brick, you got to keep it dry. Now I got my diamond saw. And you can always buy a diamond blade. You could even use a regular saw for that. And they have sometimes in the description box where I have tools. But I'm just going to cut the face off a couple. See, I cut the face off. And I could use this one. Now if you want, you could get one of these kind of things and grind this like this. And you can use that in. Same thing here. Now in the old days you'd have to kind of do this. And hope that the damn thing would go in half. That's the way you do it in the old days. Now, I'm going to continue on with the brickwork. And because these bricks are all different sizes, I got to do it randomly. But I'm fitting them all together to see where they're going to go. Once I know where they're going to go, then I'm just going to put them in. Like that, you see? I'm going to put them in. So now I'm going to mix my cement. I mixed my cement. I'm going to wet it. Like I keep telling you, if you want something to stick, you got to wet it first. Once I wet it, I want to get the cement in there to stick. You see what I mean? Very important that it sticks. And I get my piece. Just wet the back a little bit. Just like sticking on stone. I'm gonna go in, shake it in there. That's good. Now, same thing up here. Make sure that's wet. Then, get our cement, get it in there. No big deal. We know that's going to stick. Then we get our piece like that. When we get our piece, we just wet the back a little bit. Get it, shake it in. Just like that stick-on stone. That's it. Now we're going to continue on. Like I told you, gotta wet it first. Want cement to stick, gotta wet it first. Using a fast drying cement. The reason I am is because this is just a sample. That's gonna go in there like that. Same thing with the back. Get it in there. So, okay, we got that in. Now we're just going to kind of point it up, just like the rest of the building. I just make my own slickers. So we got it in. All right. Just go over the joints. Now, got that pretty good. It's looking a lot like the rest. If we got any extra, these kind of brick you could do this to. See? You could clean them. Some brick you can't. These old school brick you could clean them up. Usually when you get into brick like this, we want to match the rest of the wall. Now if you're in any restoration work and you want cement to match, see, I just got mud in there. That's all it is mud from my dad's garden. And they mix that mud up and I paint the joints with the mud. What's that's going to do, it's going to stain that cement to make it look old. And then you won't have that big brightness going on. It's going to stain it. You see what I mean? Like Leonardo da Vinci, that's what he used to do with his, make things look old. No big secret. Mud. It's called the mud trick. Let that sit on there. That's going to stain that cement. It's going to look like it's been there for ages. The mud trick. Now we're back a couple days later and this matched in here pretty good. See this? We could get a screwdriver and just keep digging into here and actually pull these brick right out. I'm going to go home and do a demonstration. I'm going to explain old school bonding, and then we're going to show you a new school way of getting these brick out. Now the way those old buildings were built back in the 1800s, they were built like this. They'd all lay their courses across, and then every 6th course or 5th course, they'd come across like this, and they would bond the brick together. That's the way they do it. That's why when you look, you see those bricks sticking out like this, and they did it randomly. Let's say you want to get this brick out new school. Well, if it was the old lime mortar, all you would have to do is get a screwdriver and keep going like this to get that cement out of there. Because that old lime mortar was easy to get out. And you could keep digging in there and you could get that brick out if you want to spend that kind of time. But if you're in a hurry and you want to do it new school, get a little grinder like this. And you keep going like this. Then you would cut it out like this. That's how you'd get that brick out. See? And you go a little deeper. And you keep going like that, and you would keep going like that until you could get your brick in. Just like that. See that? That brick will fit right in there. Now they also make bigger blades where you can go a lot deeper than that. That's the kind of blades. They also make sawzalls now with diamond blades that can get in there. Or you can just get a drill bit and keep going all the way around and get it out that way. So now we're just going to clean this out, get rid of all the thing. The only problem with these tools is there's a lot of dust. They make vacuums that kind of hook on them. You could do all that stuff, but they make a lot of dust. We got that all cleaned out, and I always told you if you want it to stick, you got to wet it first. Same thing with the back of this stone. Now you can buy these things. I have a in the description box is usually a place you can buy these things if you're interested in that. And because I'm too lazy to go down and get the thing, we're just going to take this cement put it in with a little spackle knife. It's not a big deal. Alright, just get it in there. That's all we want to do. Then, get it on the back, like I told you. Make sure it's wet or it's not going to stick. It's only one brick, it's not a big deal. Alright, we want it on there. And I'll put a little bit on the bottom here. And I'm just going to get it and stick it in. That's it. Then I'll get my little slicker. Just get it in there, that's all. That's one way to do it. I'm going to talk a little bit about the cement. This is a repair mortar that I use. Just get it in there. If you want to use your fingers, you could use your fingers, but you might slop it up. Then we kind of brush it off. These joints are dark. Remember the mud trick I told you? Just get the mud, paint it right on there. That's one way to do it. Now we got a little hole in here. Someone was drilling in there. I'm just going to put a piece of cement in there, like that. Then we're going to get this little brick stuff and push it in there. See that? Just like that. That's going to hide that. Let that dry. You won't see that no more. Now let's talk about the cement I used. For this, the way I was doing it, I just used a fast set repair mortar because I wanted it to do it fast, and if it rained or something, I'm done and I'm out of there. But usually when you're doing old school brick like this, I would just use a mortar mix. Now both of those come in with the sand already in it. So when you mix it, see, the sand's already in it. So we're just going to take this end mortar here. It's called end mortar. Look on it right here. It says type end mortar. That means it's got half Portland and half mortar in it. It's for barbecues, walls, pillars, tuck pointing mortar joints. It's standard. Now in my area, I'm not a big fan of end mortar. Sometimes I'll add a little Portland to it, but just for demonstration, just add a little water to it, mix it up. So I got it mixed up mostly like that. It's not really wet, it's a little stiff. And then if I'm doing the joint, I just hit it with the steel brush to get anything off of there. Now if I want to wet it just a little bit to make sure it sticks, I do it just with a little paintbrush. You see, you get the paintbrush, but you just moisten it. You don't let the water drip like I just did there. You just moisten it because you don't want it to stain the brick. And then you get your mortar and you just shove it in like that. See it? You don't want it too wet or it's going to stain the brick. You see how white that is compared to the other joints? I'm going to do a whole video on this. I just got to get around to doing it. Just so you get an idea. So we got that in there already. See the difference how dark that is here and how light that is here? I'm just going to brush it off. Alright. Now you know that's going to dry white. You could either paint it with mud to make it match, like that. You see, you gotta wait until it's a little drier. That'll hide that. Or you could get regular paint and go over it if you want. The mud trick usually works though. So I want to show you that, but I gotta do a whole different video on this and explain, because the cement that you're putting in there should be softer than the cement than the brick is. Now if the brick is real soft, the cement should be a little softer. That's the rule of thumb. So that's it. I'm planning on doing a video on repointing brickwork, what cement I would use for that. I do have an old one out called Building Brick Walls Old School versus New School, where I showed you how they build brick walls up in Scandinavia, different than the way we do it. The Great Wall and the Brick Masons of China. the way they build over there. They're still doing the old school bonding that we don't do anymore. Another one, matching cement joints and relaying brick. And that's where I tried to match the joints the first time. I didn't do it, so I had to get a little paintbrush and go over all the joints with a lighter cement to make the whole house match. So I'm back on Facebook. Once in a while I'll post something up on there. And I have that little site in the description box for tools. So thanks for watching. I'm Mike Haduck. I'll see you next video.